Hi, it's week 16 of MRA Watercolor. This will be our last class before Christmas break. Many of you have requested to paint whatever you would like. Those of you who don't know what you would like to paint, I'm going to show you a demonstration of this negative painting. It's about a 4-step process. I have a demo to show you in just a moment using this triangle piece of scrap watercolor paper as a template. But for those of you who do know what you want to paint, as long as it keeps you busy for the entire class period, and as long as it is Christmas related somehow, you are free to choose whatever you would like to paint. For this project, begin by tracing the triangular piece of scrap paper at least 5 times on your page and vary the heights and the spacing of each. I chose to use the cool blue mixed with some of the green that is now on your palette. You may choose whatever color you would like to use. Just make sure that your puddle is nice and watery. We'll be making layers of paint, so you don't want to get too dark too fast. So I chose which triangle to not paint first, and I painted around it. This is a process called negative painting. It's where you paint around the object instead of painting the actual object. So let that first layer dry and then choose where you want your second tree to be by painting around that one. And again, you will not paint that very first area. That first area will be white the entire time. The flat brush works best for this process because you can get a nice straight line out of it. A little better than the round brush. Each layer needs to completely dry for this to work. Now I'm choosing where to do my third layer. And you see it's hard to see my pencil lines, but I can still see them. It's just this is why you need to work with the light puddle, a color that's not too dark. Now this is a project that I would like for you to try if you really don't have an idea of something else you'd like to do today. It's not required, but it is very fun. Now here's my last layer that I'm going to paint. There are 2 triangle shapes that are far away from each other enough on the page that I can paint them at the same time. I chose to use a smaller detail brush now because it was getting hard to get into those little corners. As long as you just keep working quickly, it'll be fine. The whole page is taped off, which is going to give me a nice white border and also keep the paper nice and clean. But you might be working on your whole watercolor block. It's up to you what size paper you would like to use. Here I'm using a clean, damp brush just to blend out some of the bleeding that happens, some of the mistakes that happen. And now I'm going to pull off the tape. I plan on adding this to a card, but you may choose to add more details at this point. You may want to add some lettering on top of this, or any project you choose to do, a bookmark or anything. That's it. Here's an example of that same process with details added. I used the end of a paintbrush to dot color on for Christmas lights on the brightest tree here. I also plan to use this as a card. You could decide to do that if you want. I'll try to have some folded cardstock available to you for that. Here are some other examples just to give you ideas. This first one was inspired by our night sky paintings. I used a masking tape roll to trace for the circle. You can add lettering to yours if you like. We'll have black ink and white ink available. Here's another inspired by the night sky. This one is a bookmark. I used the salt for the stars. We'll have salt available. We'll have everything available that we've used this year. Now this side, I completed a bookmark of pine trees in mist Now this is inspired by a totally separate video that I can link below if you're interested in trying that. Here's a little doodle of the same thing. It becomes quite addicting. Trying to paint this is fun. Now here is an example of something that is really unrelated to Christmas, but you can turn it into something that is related to Christmas by adding in some details. If there's something particular that you like to paint, say owls or penguins or pandas or whatever it is, if you come with your idea, then be ready in class to give it some paint. This last one is just to show you that it could be Christmas related and not too much in the act of the painting process. This is more about the lettering process. If you come to class with a favorite Bible verse of the Christmas story and you want to letter it, you'll be able to do that as well. So as long as it keeps you busy the entire class period, and you could even make more than one if you're waiting for things to dry, we'll have hair dryers available as well. Consider bringing to class a photograph of an item that you wish to draw and paint, or you could actually bring the item into class if it is small enough, like this right here. Whatever might help. Come to class ready to paint. Thanks so much for watching.